So hello, how are you? Um, yeah, I said I was going to put up videos every day, and I obviously missed most of last week. But I had a new thing happen on Monday. I had a colonic early in the morning, and two people I see that I pay for professional services are both intuitive or clairvoyant or whatever. My colonic therapist is a bit more of a medical or a health intuitive or whatever the proper tense of that word is. Um, and then the other person I see who I've mentioned, I really should do some kind of video specifically on this, is a woman who's a clairvoyant, a psychic. She's also has a long history of being a nutritionist, and she's able to interface that nutritional knowledge with her clairvoyance as well. She can basically look at you and give you a diagnosis like a TCM guy or girl. A week ago from today, I had a colonic, and she was like, "You're very dehydrated," and I was having a hard time with like just feeling very uncomfortable. And you've heard me talk about this before. Um, the premise for drinking water is you should drink half your body weight in ounces, and you should drink 1.5 ounces of water for every ounce of caffeine that you drink to replace the dehydration that happens with the caffeine. So that formula doesn't work for me. That's not even close to enough water for me. And this is where I'm getting on with really what my blog is about. It is about so many people want to run to boxes, want to run to what other people think when they simply need to assess themselves. I can tell you that for me, I know that for a fact. I've known this. Christ, wake up. Half your body weight in ounces, not even close to enough for me. Not even. And that's my individuality. And I don't care what any fucking doctor says, what any book says. That's specific to me. You know, it's just this generalization of people is ridiculous. It's like any more than trying to understand the issues that somebody's having when you don't even know their past. You don't even know their psychological past, mental, spiritual past. All those things are connected. They're totally connected. And I'm getting down with that kind of stuff now that I'm really getting to the end of trying to find everything. It's all coming together at once. And so anyways, let me stop that right there. And I've been pushing boundaries and stuff like that because I'm starting to digress too far from what I originally wanted to say, which was that after my colonic, I went and saw my psychic, and they're both here on the mountain. My psychic, who does neuro-linguistic programming with me, which is more than just like looking in. You can actually work with this person, go into a meditation, and use basically, it's called neuro-linguistic programming. It's also I don't think it's quite the same as theta healing, but you basically do these visualizations with the subconscious and with the idea of the soul, and you make big changes in basically in minutes. Not magic, just working with your subconscious. That's it. And I'm pointing back here because the subconscious is this whole big thing. It doesn't operate on a conscious level. That's the conscious mind. But the subconscious mind knows everything, and when you work with it, you can change stuff. So I was in a bit of a panic, possibly in a little bit of a crisis, and she sensed that right away. You know, and it's like a lot of things are sort of rearranging for me, and it's almost difficult for me to go through this because a lot of the stuff that we got out of the way in this session were things that are called contracts, pacts, things that you bring with your soul from another life. These things can cause you big time problems. Contracts that you've made, oaths, vows, these things need to be erased, and usually with a someone like this woman that I see, as well as a theta healer, they can erase those pacts for you. And you know, so anyways, I said, I'm like, you know, I'm really in a panic right now. I told my psychic. She goes, "Oh, I sense you're in a crisis right now." And I go, "I guess you could say that because I'm an optimist, and so the glass is always half full for me as opposed to half empty." So she said, "Oh well, you know, I'm not really sensing at all that you're having any problems with HIV or AIDS or any of that." She goes, "I'm getting that you're malnutritioned. You know, your organs look good from your fast. You took your fast way too long." She has, you know, it's just I'm starting to really like working with this woman with the fact that she has a background in nutrition and the fact that she can interface that with clairvoyancy. So she goes, "You're malnutrition." She goes, and she is also a vegetarian and more of an ethical vegetarian, and has a long history of this, and stands behind that, but gives health advice. And she told me, "Oh, you should. I don't think you should have any restraints. You shouldn't worry about animal products and blah 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 blah. You just forget about what anybody's telling you. You're at a point now where you can make your own decisions. Just feel what's right." And she basically got me on this program of meditating a half hour a day minimum, which I've done before, but it's just like stuff like that is so easy to fall out of your routine, even if you're not, you know, I used to do a lot of that when I was working a crazy career. Just like yesterday, I was so busy. It was just, and I've actually started meditating, which is the most quality time right when I wake up. I lay in bed until I become fully conscious, and then I meditate for half an hour because that's when you're the most fresh, the most awake, blah, blah, blah. She said, "You're malnutrition." And she gave me a list of food to start taking. And I basically had already been feeling that I wanted to, based on primal body, primal mind, based on body ecology diet, Donna Gates, she is not a raw foodist, advocate of cooked foods. Based on some of the traditional Chinese medicine gurus that I've been around, George Lamoureux, one of them, I've been around him in person from Jing Herbs, and Ramania Dean Thomas, one of my favorite people, because I love his vibe, because I you know how much I hate that puritanical, raw foodist, uptight freak, and that's not freak in the good sense, that's freak in the bad sense. I thought they're not into raw food. You know, the Chinese are against raw food, especially when you get into herbalism. And that could be a topic by itself, or maybe it would be even better to interview someone. I've seen 3 Chinese herbalists. You know, one guy, this guy named David Wilcox or something like that. I can't remember his name. Just recently saw him, ran into him, and got a diagnosis from him last summer, not recently, weeks. And then the other 2 people I mentioned, George Lamoureux and Dean Thomas, who are well known in the raw food community. Or the David Wolf community, or however you want to divide that. Anyways, so she had said, "Don't use any restraint with, you know, just feel what you need." And I'd been, before I saw her, was starting to feel like, you know, I've been a vegetarian since I was 13, a raw foodist since I was 22. I'm 48 and a half. I have never in my life ever done a routine that is like nourishing traditions, which is basically getting into food that is more or less kind of like European, or kind of like how food was at the turn of the century. And I'm just at a point where, you know, as of last Monday, just serious things were going wrong with my energy and stuff like that. And she said, you're malnourished. And so for a week now, I really didn't want to report on this. That's why I wasn't on, or that's not the exact whole reason. But when I'm going down a new road or something like that, I don't maybe necessarily feel like talking every single day. I want to see what results I'm going to get. You know, I'm not afraid to like say something on here and have it be wrong. Don't give a shit. I'll correct myself. I've done it before, especially on the stuck my foot in my mouth on the Gerson diet like about a year and a half ago, and sort of stood corrected on that. Although I feel the same way about the Gerson diet as I do about the raw food diet. It is not a sustainable diet at all in any way, manner, shape, or form. And you know what? I've been getting mails because there's sort of this, you know, people that like me, but they want me in their little box. They're vegetarian, vegan, raw, whatever. I'm not going to name names because I don't want to turn people upside down, and I definitely don't want to start, like, I'm not on YouTube like some of these people that are just get off because they want to fight. And if you're vegan, you know, and you're all gentle, peaceful, blah, 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 you know, there's really nowhere to fight except to, like, get on the internet and turn people's shit upside down. So I don't want to do that, and I'm not going to name names, but I constantly get videos sent to my inbox from this guy who's on this agenda where it's like he had a doctor, he's done this more than once, some doctor that's saying, oh, protein. You know, it's more than enough protein on a vegan diet, blah, 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 blah. Guess what? Keith don't give a fuck what any doctor is saying, because I'll tell you what the doctors say to me: be on HIV meds. And that's bullshit, you know? It's just like, be your own doctor. Make your own decisions. And I'm gonna, like, go in. I really believe that we're not close to the same, and your job is to identify you, to find out what's about you. And the reason that I think a lot of people can be vegetarian or can fast or be breatharian is because they're more spiritual. They're more connected to that prana. They get nutrition another way. And that's just a small bit on that, because it just trying to lump us all into, like, as humans into one category is just as ridiculous as trying to lump Americans in the same category with Koreans. Sure, we're humanoid, but big, massive cultural difference there. And as individuals, one's got to wonder if, like, aging and cancer and all that stuff is from the denial of our individual spirit with trying to join. I mean, yes, we're a group consciousness, God, angels, saints, like, just a whole network. It's all one, but we are an individual entity with complete freedom. And the denial of that, and the denial of the investigation of yourself, is a crime. Is a crime on yourself, is a crime on your intelligence, is a crime on your creativity as a god. So, you know, and I'm exploring a big part of what happened to me on Thanksgiving when I dropped this fast, is I realized that I was putting all this health fucking bullshit in front of my music, which is my life. You know, my music has been on the back fucking burner since I decided to do this HIV no meds thing. And that is not healthy for me. It's just, I'm absolutely obsessed with synthesizers, with electronic music. You wouldn't believe the amount of time that I've spent my whole life. I know about every electronic music making device that's out there. And to, like, take that away from me, that is fucking nuts. You know, that's nuts. That's not putting things in the order they go in. You know, and granted, the health has got to come first if there is a crisis, but part of my crisis was that I wasn't paying attention to me, of who I am. The crisis wasn't my health. You know, and that's when I started stepping. This is after fasting, and I just go, oh, I've got to get away from these people, these health people, and it's just like, I know enough to steer myself around and blah, 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 and that's what I'm saying. So I'm eating a lot of cooked food right now, and I'm messing around with things I haven't eaten in 40, 30, 35 years. Things out of Nourishing Tradition. This week I've eaten bacon, eggs, yogurt, a lot of cooked food with the absorbency issue. And I had a colonic this morning, and my colonic therapist was like, I didn't say nothing about that I'm doing anything. She laid her hands on my gut, and she just went, what's different? She goes, I like the way this feels. You just felt so hollow before. So anyways, that's going good right now, and that's all I have to say. So I'm out of here, and I might see you tomorrow. Oh, music. What's music?